What's going on YouTube? Hayden back making another brand new Crypto TV episode. In today's video, we'll be looking at Litecoin, Bitcoin, Ethereum as well, once again as XRP to BTC. As always, if you guys are new to the channel, make sure to subscribe, turn on post notifications, leave a giant thumbs up if you like the content and want to see more. I do greatly appreciate it. We will be doing a giveaway at 10,000 subscribers. It's either going to be a Ledger Nano S or it is going to be some Litecoin, as you guys have chosen. Let me know in the comments down below which one exactly you want. As you guys can see, we do have Ledger Nano, so pretty cool. Otherwise, hopefully you did like that intro today. For whatever reason, the temperature is over 50 degrees Fahrenheit. For those of you in other places, that's why I said Fahrenheit. But otherwise, 50 degrees Fahrenheit. For whatever reason, it was beautiful out, no snow, so I was like, why not get the car washed, get all that nasty salt and sand off of it. It's good for the car. But otherwise, let's just jump into today's episode. So as you guys saw in the title, we do have two articles to discuss. We have one in regards to, I believe it is, every day Bitcoin doesn't die. It is closer to becoming digital gold. It says Ex-JPMorgan executive. So I feel like a lot of you guys would have an interest in that. So I wanted to make a video on that, as well as on an article by Ethereum World News. It talks about Morgan Creek CEO thinks that there will be a 20 times Bitcoin bull run possible in the next decade. So those are both some pretty interesting articles that I did want to, present to you guys. I do think they're quite interesting. So we will be doing some technical analysis too, but let's just jump into the coin market cap and then we'll check out those articles. So otherwise, on the coin market cap, we can see a couple of things have happened right now. We're pretty much stagnant, which in terms means no volume, very little volume. You can see market cap is 134.6 billion, which is phenomenal in terms of how much money that is. But it is so small in regards to how much money is actually in, fiat currency. I believe it's like $86 trillion or something like that of just fiat currency. So it's actually just a little sliver, and we've seen it as almost at 1 trillion, 700 and something billion dollars, but 134 billion is what we're at. So slightly lower than yesterday. 24-hour volume slightly lower than yesterday. Bitcoin dominance around the same as yesterday. I recall it's around, even if not a little bit higher, but so we're seeing a kind of a decrease in the market. We're seeing a slight pullback, a slight correction, a slight dip in terms of the price. And as you can see, the market reflects that analysis. You can see the top 10 cryptos, all of them are down except for Bitcoin SV. Something I'm noticing with Bitcoin SV, for all you guys who haven't noticed this, is when the market is red, Bitcoin SV does well. And when the market is in green for all the coins, Bitcoin SV is down. So it doesn't seem like it's following the normal trend compared to the rest of the market. So that is something to pay attention to if we ever start to see Bitcoin SV do some pretty odd things. If the market starts to go down even more, we should anticipate to see Bitcoin SV move up in the opposite direction. But otherwise, Bitcoin is still above $4,000 at 4,148. XRP down 1.6% at 36 cents, or almost 37 cents. And when we see Litecoin at 33.96, down 2%. Otherwise, market's only down by like 1 or 2%. So we're really not seeing anything too crazy. The most I'm seeing is down 4%. Waves is up 11%. That's pretty cool. But otherwise, things are down 1 to 10 to 11. Wow, well, there's a 12% down. Steam, which we've talked about in the past, and I actually have a Steam account. You guys can check that out. Link in the description. Is down today, so that's pretty odd. But otherwise, I'd like to say without the outliers, the majority of the market is only down by like 3 or 4%. So it's nothing too crazy to look at. But otherwise, let's check out these two articles. So this one says, like we said, every day Bitcoin doesn't die. It's closer to becoming digital gold. Obviously, hopefully you guys know what gold is and how that works, how there's only a limited supply of gold in the entire world. You can't print more, you can't make more. That's it. So once we mine it all, that's it. If there's still a high demand for it, the price will go up. Similar to Bitcoin. So it says, CCN, are you our next full-time journalist? Well, sorry, wrong thing. In an OPED on Yahoo Finance, Alex Gurevich, a professor of mathematics and an ex-JPMorgan executive, believes Bitcoin is edging closer to becoming digital gold. With every single day, it doesn't die. Despite the rise and fall of various altcoins and for considerations, time works for Bitcoin, not against it. Every day, it doesn't disappear. It gets one step closer to a permanent status of digital gold. He went on to state in the OPED, taking his readers down memory lane on why there was demand for gold and precious metals. Gurvich stated that precious metals had always been used as means of exchange for centuries, and they do not oxidize easily and remain in an uncorrupted form, hence retain their value over time. However, amongst all precious metals, gold is neither the most common nor the most rarest. He opined that over the centuries, the middle ground that gold held ended up working to its advantage. It is common enough to be a currency that can be used all over the world, but also not so common that mining can easily disrupt its price. So it's not too easy to mine. It's quite difficult, but not too difficult. And it's so, worldly, renowned that most people will accept it as a means of transaction. In the higher, more financial, institutional levels, not really retail investors. Not many people accept a bar of gold. But with these advantages, gold has been able to outlive its competitors, and as such, it ended up gaining worldwide credibility. About Gurvich believed that while Ether is battling the digital copper between, Bitcoin is always on its way to becoming digital gold. This will mean that while the value of Ether will be driven out by the demand for tech, that of Bitcoin will be driven by the sole need for it to be a store liquidity value. So it says, given the historical trading pattern in precious metals, the buy of Bitcoin in 2015 was relatively easy, and it's even easier now. But now at 20 times, including the fork, the early prices, it is more complicated trading dilemma. Bitcoin may or may not be a bubble, but it is important to remember that it did have a major burst in 2014, and even this year, the market has witnessed Bitcoin endure two meaningful corrections. So only Bitcoin is pure digital gold, and I totally buy into that. All the other tends to give up some of the aspects of Bitcoin. For example, being totally decentralized and having no central control. That's the first one they have to give up and to try to have a business model. So that's pretty much the first article in terms of why he thinks that Bitcoin can be digital gold in regards to how similar they are and their use case scenarios. But lastly, I do have an article that says Morgan Creek CEO, 20 times Bitcoin bull run possible over the next decade. It's a little bit simpler of an article, not as long. So I'm just scrolling down really quick to get up to that. So it says, Mark Yusko, Bitcoin, I love it long term. So that's who it is. Early last week, CNBC's Fast Money, somewhat infamous for its coverage of markets, continued its incessant coverage of Bitcoin, calling upon Mark Yusko, so hopefully you guys know who Mark Yusko is, of Morgan Creek Capital Management, to make a guest appearance. Surprisingly, while Yusko hails from the realm of traditional finance, he expressed that cryptocurrencies are likely to succeed over the long haul. So another really good news coming in. But do we see the price, get affected by that? Not really. So it's obviously top hedge fund veteran Mark Yusko. That's who that is, for those who didn't know. He said, opening his comments on the matter, he painted a dreary picture of equity markets. Yusko was straight to the point, telling viewers that he loves Bitcoin for the long term. Touching on the arrival of CBOEs and CMEs, Bitcoin futures vehicles, Yusko noted that he totally missed the mark on how these aforementioned contracts would affect the nascent market. He explained the artificial selling pressure has been directly placed on Bitcoin in spite of the fact that said futures aren't physically backed. This, of course, was likely said to attribute Bitcoin's most recent sell-off, which forced the digital asset under $4,000. However, he explained that rehypothecation will be phased out of cryptocurrency markets in the future, pending the adoption of Bitcoin as a viable store of value, which may be subsequently catalyze a lead higher. Yusko further explains his long-term penchant for Bitcoin went to add that 4.6 billion in trading volumes is a far cry from sub few hundred million day seen in the years prior, only accentuating that this industry is flourishing. So he also goes on to say that buying today isn't a bad idea, and I don't really think it is, especially at levels this low. I don't see why it would be a bad idea. Yes, crypto can go a little bit lower, but I think it's taken the biggest hit already. I don't think it's going to really travel much lower than what it is currently at. We've already taken the blunt of it. Right now we're just going to cope with it, hopefully consolidate out, and then slowly rebuild and potentially start to either trade out sideways for a semi-long term, a year, and trade out, consolidate, or break upwards and move upwards. So then he discusses that a 20 times upside in Bitcoin possible over the next decade. Returning to his discussion about Bitcoin's performance over the long haul, Yusko noted that over the next decade, he truly believes that Bitcoin could see 20 times plus upside, adding that crypto, when his asymmetric risk profile, is a rare asset class that can support such a rally. He explains, when it comes down to the nitty-gritty, Bitcoin is a network, not a currency or a company, before adding that the world's largest corporation are based on networks, not specific products. So keeping this in mind, he exclaimed, networks don't grow based on economic growth, interest rates, or profit, that grow on technology changes, regulatory changes. We just saw Jay Clayton here talking over a consensus. Invest about how you break the securities laws. We're going to punish you. If you don't, you play in a place of like Bitcoin, which we deem a currency. So I think that this is fantastic. So that's pretty much that article. A lot of words, I know. A lot more words than I was planning on reading off, but I do think it is semi-important. Now let me talk the way I talk. As you guys can see, we're now looking at Litecoin in terms of technical analysis, and it's truly another day of trading sideways. So I know for a lot of you who came to watch the technical analysis, it'll be semi-short. We're really just going to be checking out where we could potentially see crypto going to. I can see the rest of the market is in some sort of consolidation stand. We're not really seeing a lot of price action. We're seeing a lot of sideways trading. Not really going to see a nice move just yet. We're just dealing with this massive runoff. You can see we had a lot of runoff here, and now we're kind of consolidating out and dealing and coping with the long-term potential rally. So you can we saw this it's not really a long-term, but a short-term bearish move. Now we're going to potentially sideways trade, consolidate out in an effort to kind of maintain a neutral level in terms of looking for a more bullish outlook into the future. So sideways trading right now is what I can see cryptocurrency doing, Litecoin, Bitcoin, Ethereum. Sideways trading for right now, potentially moving up at least to 50 in terms of Litecoin, retesting its $55 purple line that we drew, that resistance, at least coming into contact with its daily high-low MMA. Something along those lines. Nothing too crazy, but I do think it will, test out that, fairly soon. Consolidation is needed. I don't think we're going to go much lower at all. Looking at Bitcoin, we're looking at it on the weekly. You can see it's also trading out sideways, bouncing off of its lowest point, its level of support. You can see on its daily, I'm just going to zoom in really quick to its daily. It was extremely oversold. Holy cow. It was extremely oversold. Wow, I did not mean to draw that. I just noticed what I'm doing. Did not see that. Delete, delete, delete. You can see all the sideways trading. You can see right here. We broke bearish from the point of the descending triangle, and we're now consolidating out in between a channel of 45.69 and a bottom of 3,700 support. You can see we were extremely oversold, and the only reason we're correcting upwards is because we were oversold on its daily. We're now resurfacing out of that oversold market, and we're entering more of a consolidation standpoint. Plenty of potential to go up. I think that's the only way it can go as of right now, is up, or it's going to consolidate out and kind of build that that relative strength index and play it out maybe to like 46 or 40. But even the RSI can grow at the same time we see the market consolidate. So it'll be interesting, but I do think before we see any positive move, we're going to end up retesting our, daily high-low MMA, which is up at like 5,800, which is good. It's about, $1,600 more than where the price is now. Ethereum probably going to do the same thing, more consolidation. We're looking at this on the daily. Another day of sideways consolidation. We're trading out in the long term, sideways movement. We're going to continue to see this, and I do think it's going to play a role in the rest of the market until around Christmas time. Very odd that I think Christmas is like the 25th, 26th. Don't quote me on that. But we're going to see consolidation until that point, until the holidays hit. And then we're going to see what happens. It could be a potential pullback due to the fact that it's the holidays. People might take their money out, or we could see the opposite. People could put in due to the holidays. We could see a nice correction back upwards. Maybe people are buying crypto for Christmas and Hanukkah and whatever religion and holiday you celebrate. But we could, and we are most definitely going to see Ethereum consolidate out for at least the next 1 to 2 weeks until we see some sort of move. But expect low volatility for the next couple of weeks. XRP is the same thing. You can see, interesting enough, a little bit earlier, XRP's ascending triangle actually breaks around December 13th, slightly earlier than Ethereum's, but it still is forming some sort of ascending triangle, and we are holding a very strong resistance up at the top here, that white band. You can see the yellow band is a very strong support. So it's very interesting to say where it's going to go. You know, we're above the high-low MMA, so it does give me some concern, in fact, that we could break bearish from that and fall lower to retest our high-low MMA. The only way I could say that there's a better chance of us breaking bullish is if we allow this high-low MMA to start to come up and put pressure on the support line right here, and it kind of acts as a secured line for the price to move higher up. Let's check it out on the 4-hour to see where that high-low MMA is. So this is what I'm talking about too. Believe it or not, you can see the high-low MMA is literally playing a role in forcing the price down right now. You can see it broke bearish from that, and it is now intertwined with its 4-hour high-low MMA. We're probably going to see that until we move into the mid of December, and then we're going to see whether or not it's going to break bullish or bearish. But otherwise, that's going to sum up today's episode that's going to sum up the episode for today, guys. If you're new to the channel, make sure to subscribe, turn on post notifications, leave a giant thumbs up. Make sure to share the channel if you want to win the giveaway. I do appreciate that. Share it on Facebook, Twitter, whatever. Share some videos. Otherwise, I'll see you guys in tomorrow's episode. Peace.